Welcome to Clark County Today. I'm your host, David Medor. We have Naylene Frunk here today. She's helping with the interview. And the person that we're interviewing here is Cyndi Romine.
There you go.
And you are here with an organization called Call the Rescue. And you are doing a very important rescue operation right here in Clark County.
That's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, well, many people don't even realize what's happening here. Can you tell us what's happening here with our sons and our daughters here in Clark County?
Well, David, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. But Clark County is in danger, just like most of the cities up and down all of the I-5 corridor stretching from Vancouver, BC to Mexico. We're in a very vulnerable area, and Vice Cop Police Officer John Chapman says there's about 100 girls missing right now in Clark County. So 100 of our children, not children in Southeast Asia, not children in downtown Portland, Oregon, but 100 girls out of Clark County missing right now. And so it's our job, our responsibility, we feel, as rescuers to, get as many connections to all of these missing children as possible, figure out where they are, if they've been trafficked, and then go after those children.
You say we're in a vulnerable area. What makes this area vulnerable?
The I-5 corridor is our vulnerable area. So because we extend the I-5 corridor from Vancouver, BC, all the way to Mexico, they pick up kids all the way along. They'll drop them off. They'll pick up others. They'll go all the way down, back and forth up the I-5 corridor. So we're in a very vulnerable position. And then we've got Portland right to the south of us. So the survivors that I'm working with from Vancouver, a lot of them were picked up in Portland. They went down to go to a teen club or whatever the reason they went down. And normal teens, not necessarily runaways. Everybody thinks these are runaways or children that are on the street. Not always true.
So you could drop your daughter off at the mall,
yes,
and thinking that they're just going to be there with their friends,
yes,
babysitting for 3 hours or something like that. And in reality, a good girl,
yes,
innocent girl, good values,
absolutely,
A student, that kind of thing. And what can happen? What does happen here in our county?
What happens is a lot of people think the mall is a babysitter, right? I'll just drop the kids off at the mall. They can go shopping a little bit, but in reality, what's happening is they could be meeting someone there. Someone could be, looking at them to groom them to be the boyfriend of your daughter, and the boys are in danger. 30% of every child taken are male. So we've got 70% girls, 30% boys. Boys are also up for grabs.
So when you say meet somebody, in other words, if they've met somebody online and say, I'll meet you at the mall, this is like a stranger? Or how does this normally start?
It can be. One case out of from the Bellevue Mall, which is a very exclusive area, a girl was online. She was emailing a guy, and she said, I'll meet you. She was 17 years old, had a 4-year scholarship. She left on April 18th, 2010. We tracked her on the back of Craigslist for a while, and she's gone, and she has not been retrieved. And so we know she's been trafficked. So it can happen just because the child is innocent and they don't quite know what they're getting into. So we need awareness in all the schools.
Okay, you used the term trafficked. What do you mean she's been trafficked?
Okay, trafficked in its most horrible form is we have an experienced pimp who picks someone up, and he takes her immediately from wherever she is to a place she's not comfortable with and doesn't know. So from Portland, they would take him to Seattle. From Seattle, they take him to Portland, or on down the I-5 corridor. And these kids are very vulnerable, don't know what they're getting into, think that the guy really loves them if it's been, online for a while and they've kind of been grooming them to be their boyfriend. But we also have the situation, and the vice police in Portland have told me that you can have a girl go into a food court in a mall and 3 hours later be gone. She meets this cute guy. He says, let's get your hair done. Then he says, okay, you owe me money. And so there's this whole thing, and the parents might even think it's a runaway situation when actually the guy is a professional, knows what he's doing, has targeted our children.
I was just going to say, pimping sounds like an industry. And as a
30
parent, I'm not thinking there's people out there making a profit off of something, to me, I didn't even know existed, but it sounds like an industry that they're really trying to...
$32 billion a year. If I am in the drug cartel and I sell drugs, I sell them once and they're gone. If I sell guns, one gun, it's finished. If I have a girl or a little boy, it's 20 to 30 times a night. This is the most huge money-making industry, and everybody's just tacked this on to... They're the same guys. They're the same bad guys.
In inner city, deep in the heart of a city where it's so urban, you would think that that kind of activity happens here. We're more spread out here. Where Clark County, it's kind of it's not inner city. How much of a threat is it really for a Clark County?
Well, if we have 100 children missing right now, to me, one child is too many, David.
I agree.
One child is too many.
Yeah.
And so how bad a problem do we have? It's horrendous, because we have 100. We don't have one. We don't have 5. We have 100 children missing. We have 100 families involved, missing their children. You know, the phone call I hate getting is the mom who's kind of sobbing on the other end of the phone. You know, my kid's gone. I don't even know what to do.
And she's probably not even aware that this kind of thing can happen.
That's right. That's right. First 24 hours are critical. First 48 are huge. And then the police have their hands tied the first 48 hours because the child is considered a runaway, not a missing person.
So even if the parent calls up and said, hey, my child would never run away. I have a close relationship with my daughter. She's gone, and I know this is not a runaway. Can't the police respond to that?
No, they can't.
By law, they have to.
Law. And of course, we would say, you know, go find my kid.
Yeah.
Do something. I'm not going to go to sleep tonight knowing my child is not going home. And when they hear you say, you know, I know my child would never run away, they're thinking in their mind, right. Because they deal with so many kids having problems all the time.
It sounds more often that they deal with children that are runaways than they do children that are missing.
And trafficked, yes. Runaways happen all the time. But here's what happens with the runaway. So your kid, who's a great kid, decides that it would be fun after school's out, because we've just had a bunch of runaways now because school's out, right? School's out, so we can go and do something. So you have this kid who says she's just going to run away. And then how is she going to run away? Well, she's in somebody's car, or she's with somebody she doesn't quite know very well. And then they get somewhere, and then somebody says, well, we don't have any money for this hotel. How are we going to eat? So now she's out on the street making money for gasoline, for food, and of course she turns that over directly to whoever is in charge. She doesn't keep the money. They don't keep the money.
Well, what keeps them in the spot where they're at? I mean, why would they, let's say they're in the mall or something, why in the world would they say, I'm going to go to Seattle or someplace if they're a good, you know, straight A student or something? Why would they even fall for that?
They do. They're kids. And you know, brain development teaches us that they're not making their decisions the way an adult would make a decision. And of course, we have a lot of adults, and including myself, and I've made decisions and I've thought, now why did I do that? You know, so even as an adult, we make mistakes in our decision making. But if you take that down to a 13-year-old, because the normal age is 13. So you bring that down to a 13-year-old, that child does not have that decision-making capability, and most of the girls think they're in love.
I was just going to say, what looks so good and so innocent on the surface is these predators are so good at making the evil that we're talking about look so right. I can just picture my children in a mall. I don't send my children to a mall, but I can just picture the right scenario of my kid. She loves accessories, hair accessories, and she's just girly girl. I can just see another girl her age coming up to her and chatting with her about an accessory. Oh, doesn't this look good? Oh, well, come and see me in this mirror, and will you put this on me? And that innocence, in my child's mind, she is gullible and naive and pure enough to think that that's really okay.
So the first person to approach someone, let's say they haven't met somebody online, they're just simply at the mall, you got somebody that's picking out something for their hair. So the first person that approaches them may not be a guy, it might be a girl, right?
This is probably the most shocking statistic I can tell you, but 50% of all pimps are women.
Really?
Yes.
I thought a pimp was a guy.
Was a guy. You always think a pimp is a guy. But let's say you're the pimp and you've been with him for a long time working for him. When you get to a certain age, you say, you know what? I could be recruiting. I could be making the money. Why am I working for this dude exclusively? Then you make a deal with him that says, hey, I'll go recruit and we'll split some of the money. What a great business opportunity for that guy, because a woman, of course, is much less threatening than a man would be to a girl or to a boy. So, yeah, it's really scary out there.
It's packaged so innocently.
They have
a manual.
Like. They have a pimp's manual that they study. These guys are professional through and through.
So they play on that trust, and they build some kind of
bond. Any kind of bond. And within the first hour, they know everything about the girl. And you can see your 12-year-old doing this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they find out if they've had a fight with mom or dad, if they need new shoes and didn't get them. I mean, they just know everything about the entire family before there's another move made.
Those emotional triggers.
Yeah.
Kids are so susceptible to how other people, how they see themselves according to how other people express that, and parents don't rate in that scale of being high on that list of importance.
Absolutely
it's
not.
It's friends and other people. It's amazing.
I guess especially during junior high and high school, because you want to be accepted, you want to be recognized, and so they play on that.
Well, and who doesn't want to have a boyfriend if you're a young girl? Everybody wants to have a boyfriend, somebody to talk about. It really is more of a companion thing with your girlfriend, you know, because it's exciting. But we even have a family who the guy came home with the girl, sat on the couch, had popcorn, watched TV. Finally, the mom is picking up something is not right. And she said, you know, you mess with my girl, you mess with me. He had her out of there just like that. She was out of there, no contact with the house anymore. Your parents don't understand you. They know how to work these children and their emotions. So it lines everything up so that moms and dads need to know what their kids are doing and step up into a huge parenting situation, which I always feel could be a little stronger in almost every family.
Wow.
It's interesting. I was going to ask you, so what do we do in our homes before these outside influence come into them?
I would much rather do awareness than rescue.
There you go.
Right? I mean, it's much better to save your child than to have to call my phone number. So, great question. And here's the answer to that. There's a lot of things you can do. Number one, your computer, it opens that child to the entire world, not just their friends. You have to see the internet as it really is. It opens you to the world. It opens your children to the world. So my recommendation is the computer sits in the kitchen or wherever you are. I have to do homework. Good, you can sit right here and do your homework, right? Get a little tougher as parents and then take the modem, get it out of there. At night, your children should not have access to a computer at all. That should live in your bedroom. And the same way with their cell phones. You know, kids really hate me for this, but kids stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning texting their friends. And so that's why some of them have bad grades too. And you just need to take the cell phone, have it charge in your bedroom overnight. And then, you know, it's a 10 o'clock thing, you know, whatever time you guys want to set as your, you know, as parents. I'm taking your cell phone, it's going to charge in my bedroom. And then you have to check the cell phone continually to see who they've been texting. If by any chance the whole thing is deleted, you have a problem. You know, you can't let your 12-year-old, you can't let your 12-year-old say, "Oh, I just deleted it." Oh no, you delete this sucker and you are in trouble with me.
Phone's mine.
For as long as you live, right?